Where have you been, you idiot? My family's been sitting hungry for an hour, and the New Year's table still isn't ready. And don't forget to buy gifts for everyone. That was my sister, Rachel, screaming into the phone like every December 31st. I stood outside the grocery store, snow melting on my gloves, phone pressed against my ear, biting my tongue. I'm Emma, 27, the reliable one, the one who always gives in, the one who covers everyone else's mistakes. Our parents were in the car beside me, silent. Dad's eyes met Mom's, a quiet exchange that said, maybe she deserves what's coming this year. Because Rachel had no idea, the surprise that was waiting for her tonight wasn't the kind that came in wrapping paper. She'd spent years barking orders, treating me like a servant, treating Mom and Dad like employees. Ever since she married into money, she'd acted like we were beneath her. But this year, for the first time, I wasn't going to bend. I slipped the phone back into my coat pocket and whispered, "Let her wait." Mom looked nervous. "Emma, are you sure about this?" "Completely," I said, starting the car. It's time she finally learns what it feels like to be on the other side. Snowflakes drifted across the windshield as we drove toward Rachel's mansion, unaware that this New Year's Eve would end in ways none of us imagined. Rachel's house glittered like a showroom. Glass walls, golden lights, a luxury car parked beside the gate. I'd seen it 100 times, but tonight it looked hollow. Beautiful but cold. We parked quietly. I could already hear her voice through the door before knocking. Finally, she shouted the second she opened it. "Do you even know what time it is, Emma?" I said 6 o'clock, not 7. She didn't notice Mom carrying 2 heavy bags or Dad's limp from the cold. Her husband, Mark, sat on the couch scrolling through his phone, pretending not to hear. The kids, my niece and nephew, peeked out from behind the staircase. Even they looked tense, like they were trained not to speak until she said so. I forced a smile. "Happy New Year, Rachel." She didn't reply. "Put the groceries in the kitchen. I've been doing everything myself while you." She stopped when she saw Mom set down her purse. "You brought them?" "I told you, I only invited you." That's when Dad finally spoke. Calm but firm. "Rachel, tonight isn't just your celebration." She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I walked past her, toward the dining room. The table was set, crystal glasses, silver forks, but something was missing. I took out a small box from my bag and placed it at the center of the table. Rachel crossed her arms. "What is this now?" I looked straight at her and said quietly, "Your real New Year's gift." And for the first time, she didn't have a comeback. Rachel's eyes narrowed as she stared at the small silver box sitting in front of her champagne glass. "What's in it?" she snapped. "Some kind of joke?" I didn't answer right away. I wanted her to feel the silence, something she never allowed in this house. Her husband looked up from his phone for the first time, uneasy. Mom sat down, folding her hands in her lap. Dad just watched, quiet but resolute. "Open it," I said softly. Rachel sighed dramatically, the way she used to when we were kids, and she thought I was being too sentimental. She flipped open the lid. Inside were photographs. Her confident smirk faltered. They were pictures from our old apartment, the one-bedroom place we grew up in before she married Mark. Mom at her sewing machine, Dad fixing the heater. Me and Rachel on the floor, eating noodles on paper plates, laughing. "I found them in Mom's old trunk," I said. "Thought you might want to remember who you were before the marble floors and crystal chandeliers." Her face hardened. "You brought this for New Year's? Nostalgia? You think I have time for?" I interrupted quietly. "No, I brought them because you forgot." She blinked. "Forgot what?" I leaned forward. "That we used to wait for you. That every year you promised to come home and never did." For a moment, Rachel's voice broke. "Emma, this isn't." But I wasn't finished. "Tonight, we didn't come to celebrate your perfect life, Rachel. We came to remind you what family used to feel like." And suddenly, the glittering room didn't seem so bright anymore. For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound came from the clock above the fireplace. Its ticking felt louder than the storm outside. Rachel set the photos down like they were burning her fingers. You can't just come here and make me feel guilty, Emma. I'm not here to make you feel guilty, I said quietly. I'm here to remind you that you have a family. Her eyes flashed. Oh, please. You think I don't care? I pay for Mom's medicine, Dad's therapy, your rent. Because it looks good on your Christmas cards, Dad interrupted, his tone sharper than I'd heard in years. Rachel froze. Mom reached across the table, trembling. Sweetheart, all we ever wanted was you, not your money. For the first time, I saw her blink back tears, but she masked it fast, picking up her wine glass to hide the shake in her hand. You don't understand how hard it's been, she whispered. Mark's business, the pressure, the parties. Mark looked up. Ratch, maybe listen for once. Her glare could have cut glass. Not you too. That's when the lights flickered. We all turned. Wind howled through the old window panes. Power gone. The golden mansion dimmed to gray. Rachel exhaled sharply. Great. Perfect timing. I stood up. No, actually it is. From my coat pocket, I took out a flashlight and an envelope. I didn't just bring photos, I said, setting it down beside her plate. I brought the truth you've been avoiding for 10 years. Her face went pale. What truth? The power snapped fully out. Only the flashlight's beam cut through the dark, landing on the envelope and Rachel's shaking hands. The power outage turned her perfect dinner into a shadow play. The only light was my flashlight reflecting off her wine glass. Rachel's hand hovered above the envelope like it might explode. What is this supposed to be? She asked, voice brittle. Read it, I said. She tore it open, the sound sharp against the quiet room. Her eyes scanned the handwriting. Then she froze. It wasn't mine. It wasn't Mom's. It was Dad's, dated 10 years ago. He cleared his throat softly. I wrote that after your wedding, he said. We never sent it. Rachel's voice shook. Why? Because you stopped visiting, Mom whispered. We thought maybe one day you'd remember us without a letter to force it. Rachel began to read aloud, each line slower than the last. Rachel, we're proud of you, but we miss our daughter, not the stranger who sends checks. Success means nothing if it costs you family. Come home before it's too late. Her lip trembled. You kept this all these years? Dad nodded. Every New Year's Eve. The kids had come down the stairs now, clutching each other, sensing something heavy, but not understanding. Rachel wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, anger fighting shame. You think I forgot you? I worked this hard so you wouldn't struggle again. I stepped closer, flashlight steady. We never asked you for perfection, Ratch. We asked for you. For the first time, her shoulders sagged. The fierce energy that filled her voice all her life, gone. Only silence, and the echo of what she'd lost. For a long moment, no one said a word. Rachel's fingers still clutched the letter, the edges crumpling as she stared at the words like they were a mirror she didn't want to face. I didn't forget you, she whispered finally. I just didn't know how to come back. Mom's eyes softened. Sweetheart. Rachel shook her head, tears cutting through her mascara. You all think I changed because of the money, but it wasn't that. After I got married, everything I did had to look perfect. I couldn't let anyone see the cracks. Mark's clients, his friends, even my own kids. They all had to believe we were the ideal family. Mark's voice broke the stillness. Ratch, you didn't have to live like that. She let out a shaky laugh. Didn't I? Every time I messed up, he'd remind me how much he'd done for me. How lucky I was. And I started believing it. I started believing you were the reason I felt small, not him. The realization landed heavy. Mom reached for her hand. Rachel didn't pull away this time. Dad sighed. We never wanted to punish you, Rachel. We just wanted you to see who you were before someone convinced you weren't enough. Rachel pressed the letter to her chest. The lights flickered once more, then slowly came back to life. The room glowed again, but it felt different. Softer. Human. She looked at me through tears. Emma, I'm sorry. For everything. For the first time in years, I believed her. The digital clock on the oven blinked 11:59 p.m. 1 minute until midnight. Outside, the snow had softened, falling in slow silver lines against the window. Rachel stood slowly, still clutching Dad's letter. I ruined so many years trying to prove I was happy. Her voice cracked on the last word. You can't change the past, I said gently, but you can start the year with the truth. She looked at the photos again. Our childhood smiles frozen in a simpler time. Do you really think it's too late? Dad smiled faintly. It's only too late if you stop trying. Mark came forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. We can try again, together. Maybe we all needed tonight. For the first time, Rachel didn't argue. She reached for Mom's hand. Mom took it without hesitation. Then she turned to me, and it was like I could see the little sister I'd lost years ago standing there again. I should have been the one making dinner for you, she said quietly. Not the other way around. I laughed softly. We'll settle for dessert. Outside, fireworks exploded across the night sky. Bright, loud, beautiful. The clock struck 12. Rachel whispered, Happy New Year. Happy New Beginning, I replied. For once, there were no raised voices. Just laughter, light, and the smell of food warming in the oven. No mansion, no money, just a family rediscovering itself at the edge of a new year. And that was the New Year's Eve that finally changed everything. The night didn't end with fireworks or fancy champagne. It ended with something rarer, understanding. We sat together past midnight, eating reheated pasta, sharing stories from the years we'd all silently pretended didn't exist. The mansion didn't feel like Rachel's anymore. It felt like ours, a family's again. I watched my sister laugh, really laugh, the way she hadn't since we were kids. For once, her voice didn't command. It connected. Her kids curled up beside her. Mom hummed an old tune, and Dad leaned back in his chair, eyes soft with quiet relief. When I finally stepped outside for air, snow still drifted down, peaceful and clean. I realized something important. Sometimes the biggest gift you can give someone isn't forgiveness, it's a mirror. Let them see who they've become and who they used to be. We spend so much of life chasing approval, titles, money, image, forgetting the people who'd still love us if we lost everything. Rachel had to lose control to find her heart again. So if you're hearing this story, remember, the best New Year's resolution isn't to change your life, but to remember what already matters. Studio microphone moral: don't wait for power outages or old letters to remind you of love. Make that call. Apologize first. Go home. If this true story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Stay kind. Stay grateful. And never forget, the brightest light always starts in the dark. Crescent moon.